Well, good morning, students. We're going to be talking about the electoral process as a part of the political process in today's session. And candidates for a public office can choose a variety of ways to become involved in politics. Political parties uh, and political candidates um, try to win public office, and voters can be influenced several different ways. And we're going to look at those today. Um, it may amaze you to know that these are the two candidates, Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. He ran for president in 2016. Of course, Trump won. And you may see them here. They seem to be friends. In fact, there was a time where they were very close. Donald Trump was the consummate businessman. He gave money to both Democrats and Republicans in order to further his business in New York. And so here, happier times, and here, not so happy. Okay, and you, as electorate, have the power to choose. How are campaigns run? Well, it requires money and time. The question is, what motivates people to run? Is it the question of the honor of holding a particular office, or do they simply want to contribute to society? Is there an altruistic uh, motivation behind it, or do they want power to hold on to things? And it takes a lot of work to get into office. Campaigns are hard work. You have to go door to door, state to state. In fact, I would encourage you to pause and read over this. This is Hillary Clinton's campaign schedule just for a couple of days. And keep in mind, these people are in their 70s when they are running for national office, typically a lot of times. Again, it requires money and time in order to run for office. And we look at the motivation, why do they do it? And it also requires that they utilize the media well. TV, website, staff, all that has to be coordinated. So it's quite a lot to run a political campaign. Um, they have to have time and access sources of money. There are sources of money they can have from PACs. What is PAC? Political Action Committees. That's right. Or they could get money from the party, from Republican or Democrat. You align with the party and they can support you. Private individuals, a lot of time has to be spent asking for money. And they may incorporate their own personal funds. Donald Trump certainly had the wherewithal to put some of his personal money into it. Michael Bloomberg just put upwards of $500 million into from his personal funds into his trying to secure the Democrat nomination. Didn't do it though. By the way, it is Democrat and Republican, not Democratic. So it's Democrat Party and Republican Party. Hard money is money that we're not talking about coins and paper here. Hard money is money that is donated to an individual campaign, and this has to be reported. Soft money is money that is given to a party rather than a specific candidate. Choosing candidates, well, the nominating process differs from state to state, but it usually involves this process. Self-announcement. Registration involves a fee. A person decides to run for office, they go to the courthouse, they pay a certain fee and put their name in the hat. There are write-in candidates, those who announce they are running for an office as an independent or as a challenger to the party's preferred candidate. And they ask that voters write their name in on the ballot. These people usually lose because it takes effort to write in a name on a ballot as opposed to just checking a box. Eugene Debs ran as an independent Socialist Party candidate in 1918, and he was in prison. Kind of unusual to run for office in prison, but he was in the Atlanta prison, and he received almost 1 million votes out of the 26 million votes that were cast. So you never know. How do we choose candidates, especially a candidate for president? Well, caucuses are meetings of party members who select the candidates to run in an election. And this began in the early 1800s. It's still used in Iowa, where Iowa is the first caucus held for the presidential candidates. And so they will plot like white on rice to Iowa. All these candidates going to Iowa, and they will caucus. They will go door to door and meet people. Precinct level caucuses are the lowest level and open to all party members. Caucuses endorse candidates and select delegates based upon the delegates' stated preference regarding candidates. So it's quite a process. But most of the delegates are chosen through primaries. The direct primary, in which voters choose the party's candidates for the general election. And there are two types of primary. We have a primary here in Georgia. A closed primary means that those who are registered as Democrat can vote in the Democrat Party primary. Those who are registered as Republicans can vote in the Republican primary. But you can't cross over. That's a closed primary. You have to be registered with the party to vote in that primary. But in open primary, anybody that's registered can vote. Republicans can vote in the Democrat primary. Democrats can vote in the Republican primary. And the question is, why would a Republican want to vote in Democrat? There is a reason. There is a reason. Think about it for a while. See if you come up with it. And these direct primaries play the greatest role in securing a presidential nomination. Conventions, unlike caucuses, these are open to the public to observe. In fact, the parties want you to observe what goes on in convention. Delegates to the convention represent the party members who are not there. They are selected through the primaries or caucuses. And state conventions then put their mark of approval on them and send them to the national convention, which is held every 4 years to select the presidential nominee. And this tells you all about the process. This is Bill Clinton, how he went from his self-announcement all the way to be President of the United States. You want to look at that. Voting and voter turnout. Voters turn out about 2/3, and that's a little bit high. I don't think it's quite that much for a general presidential election. Presidential elections held every 4 years. Midterm elections are only about 40% of the electorate turn out, and state and local elections are still lower still. Why is that? Because people can get enthused about the president, less so about Congress. And who cares about the county commissioners? But we need to be involved. Factors affecting turnout: apathy, I don't care, dissatisfaction of government, they don't do anything anyway, lack of confidence in importance of vote. Oh, my vote doesn't matter anyway. Or lack of competitive races. Well, he or she is going to win. He's going to win. Why should I spend my time to go down and vote when I already know that he's going to win? So those are all factors that can influence it. What are the requirements? Well, you have to be a U.S. citizen. You have to be 18 years of age to vote in federal elections. You have to be a resident of the state in which your vote is to be cast. And you must be registered. Now, 11 states allow you to register on voting day. And in North Dakota, you don't have to register at all. Typically, Democrats like for it to be very easy. You can just show up to vote. Republicans want it to be a little bit more difficult. State registration, 1993, Motor Voter Act, and you could sign up for your driver's license and check the box, and you could get a ballot after you turned 18. I tend to agree with Nikki Haley. She's the former governor of South Carolina who went on to be UN ambassador. If you can show a picture to buy Sudafed, if you can show a picture to get on an airplane, you should be able to show a picture ID to vote. And this would help secure the vote against voter fraud is the whole idea. The Democrats want everybody to vote. The Republicans want you to be able to validate that you are who you say you are. And I don't know who you think is better there. So, voting behavior. Why do people vote? Well, first of all, voters tend to return incumbents to office. What's an incumbent? It's a person who already holds the office. And there are four main factors that influence our voting: party identification, branding. 1/3 of voters ID'd as Democrat or Republican. And so, if I'm a Republican, I'm going to vote Republican. If I'm a Democrat, I'm going to lean for the Democrat. But also, issues are important. Abortion, health care, taxes, jobs, they may all influence how I vote. And a candidate's background. What is this record? Is he a trustworthy person? What is her age? What's her character like? Those things all influence, as well as the voters' my own personal background. What is my age? You know that older people tend to vote more conservatively, younger people more liberally. Gender, men vote differently than women. Race, religion, education, all those are factors that influence how a person votes. General elections are held on, according to state and national laws. Plurality means a person receives more than any other candidates and wins the election. But if there are 3 or 4 candidates running, you may receive a plurality and not receive a majority. And some states require a majority, that is more than 50%. You have to receive more than 50% of the vote to win an election. And if no candidate has a majority, they may require a state runoff. Elections held at local or state levels, or occasionally special elections. If someone dies in office, it has to be replaced. The dates, as far as the election, are set by law. Federal elections are held the first Tuesday following the first Monday in November of every even numbered year. And those are congressional elections every 2 years. Every 2 years. Presidential election is held every 4 years when that congressional election is held. Voters cast secret ballots on paper or machine. Absentee ballot can be submitted on or before election day by a voter who cannot be present on election day. And 35 states do currently allow early voting. Campaigns in the public good, political parties, interest groups, individuals, everybody is participating. Elections serve the public good by providing a means for citizens to express their opinion about how the country should be run. But there are some criticism of elections and campaigns. There's so much reliance on TV, and there's so much information that is left out or omitted or distorted, and campaigns can be negative. But in spite of all that, your vote is your voice, and I want to encourage you to use it. And this is a very interesting case. I would encourage you to go on OES, check this out, Buckley versus Vallejo. And this deals with elections, campaign contributions. Can you make as much as you want? What if all the rich people give all the money and buy the candidates? Well, how does that happen? Anyway, look at Buckley versus Vallejo. Interesting case. And then we people, the role of political parties in the constitutional system. You want to take a few minutes to read over that. Very, very interesting. And there are 2 pages on that. And then you might use all the comprehension and critical thinking portion at the end of the chapter to review chapter 9 so that you understand this political process and what it's all about. All right. Well, we'll have a review for you posted quickly, and you can go back over all of the chapter and make sure that you're ready for the chapter test on Monday. See you then.